Hi everyone, it's KnifeFighter22 here. I hope you guys are all well, and welcome to the next game of chess which I played. This was against Boris S from Indonesia, rated 1287, and I was KnifeFighter22 from the UK. Okay, so this match was a pretty good game because my opponent and I, we were both very aggressive. But unfortunately he did blunder his queen at the end, but there was a very nice attack going on by me, and also a very nice attack going on by him. So I think if he hadn't have blundered his queen, would have got a very interesting middle game, but that was an extremely interesting opening, and you really didn't know what was going to happen. So let's take a look at the game. We start off with a Petrov actually, but it transposes to a fried liver in a minute. So bishop c4, and now I've got to defend my pawn. I could have taken the pawn here, but I figured that, after knight takes here, I didn't really want that kind of position. I'm happy to play against the fried liver. I did do a tutorial on how to play this opening, so I'll put a link right here. And now we see d5, so I'm defending against the fried liver. And after e takes e5, I don't actually take back with the knight. I prefer to play knight over to a5. And now the bishop comes down to b5 check. This is more sort of an aggressive move. The least aggressive is bishop back to e2, and then I take back with the pawn. But bishop to b5 check, and now I choose to play c6 just to blunt out the bishop. So d takes c6 and knight takes c6. And I really think I've got a pretty nice position now. And now my opponent plays queen to f3. Now the main thinking behind my opponent's move for queen to f3 was to trade off the knight, and after pawn takes back, then he can play queen takes. And he can fork my king on my rook. I can defend this by playing bishop to d7, but it's still not going to be nice, and I will be down a pawn, so I didn't want to do that. I defended it with queen to b6, probably the most aggressive response, more aggressive than bishop to d7 anyway. This is also attacking his bishop, so the bishop goes back to c4. And now this is a very interesting point in the game actually, because he is attacking my f7 pawn. With his bishop and his knight. This is like, he's threatening to play knight takes f7, and really attack my king. But I don't defend the threat here. Instead, I play knight up to d4, and you can really see there's a massive attack on both sides. So, for example, he's threatening f7 with his knight and bishop, and I'm threatening his queen, and I'm also threatening a fork on c2, forking the king and the rook. So he plays bishop takes f7. I make a slight mistake here. I play king e7, and then after queen a3 check, I have to bring my king back down to d8. But you'll notice now this bishop is now attacking the queen, and my opponent's got a problem because obviously there's a fork here between the king, rook, and queen for the square. So he's going to have to put the queen on a square where this can be defended quite easily. So he plays the queen over to c3. But he's brought his queen out a little bit too early, and it's going to be really easy for me to attack. So, for example, I can just play bishop to b4, get a tempo, and attack. So he plays the queen over to d3, but this now allows bishop to f5. And what you'll notice is, after the queen moves, the queen's got to go to a safe square to c4. This bishop and knight are both attacking the c2 square, so I can go ahead and fork the two pieces. So king to f1, and now knight takes. And this is where my opponent makes the blunder. He plays queen down to d5 check, and I can go ahead and take it with my knight. But let's just go back a few moves. If my opponent hadn't have played that blunder, there was some very interesting things which I was calculating in the game. It was 5-minute blitz, by the way. I was calculating knight g4, threatening queen f2. But also there was some interesting lines which my opponent could play. If he had ever managed to get his queen onto the d-file, there'd be some very nasty checks. He could also play, I don't know, he could really start to attack my king though with his pieces, especially when he had this knight and bishop centered around there. So that was the game for you. I hope you all enjoyed it. I wish you good luck playing chess, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye everyone.